I'm Dr. John, and this is your Maintenance Minute. We're continuing our discussion on the 32 processes and practices that make up the storeroom function. Today we're going to talk about one that seems kind of odd, but it's actually a real process, and it's one that if you don't keep control of it, it could definitely get out of hand, cost you a lot of money and a lot of embarrassment. It is the process of disposal of scrap. Let's face it, during the maintenance process and reliability effort in our plant, we're going to come across some things that they're recyclable, they're reusable, not for our purpose. They're scrap for what we're, for our intended purpose, but we've got to do something with it. We can't just throw it in the landfill. I want to point out that the disposal of scrap is actually a process that comes into play whenever we're talking about the obsolescence program. And we're going to learn in that video that at some point things become obsolete for our purpose. Now, ideally, we'd want to return those to the vendor, supplier, and get full refund for them, but often that's not the case. The very end, if we can't do anything with a good part, we may end up having to throw it away. But I don't mean in the landfill. I mean we may end up have to scrap it for metal or something else. It also has to do with the salvage value. This really is, can we get just sort of money for the materials, the metal that's in the part? So these are other processes that this disposal of scrap might come into play. What we're really dealing with here are things that are typically considered recyclable or part of our recyclable program. Now, where you actually work, it may not be that the recycling bins, if you will, are located back in the storeroom or in that area. It's certainly been my experience, the places I've worked and the places that I go and train and consult, that for some reason, sort of the old 55-gallon drum of just wire, sort of rubber or plastic coated aluminum or copper wire just kind of shoved in a big barrel. It's back over there by the storeroom, which is generally in the maintenance shop area. Or you've got the big, haul away type totes that got old motors and these kinds of things in it. So we're kind of scrapping them for metal. This is what we're talking about. We might be scrapping things for copper, aluminum. It's very common nowadays to see sort of these rechargeable batteries or one-use batteries. There's like a disposal bin actually in the store. You kind of turn in a battery, they give you a new one, and they sort of recycle the old one, or waste oil or something like that. Look, this is a very serious business. It's kind of it seems like an odd thing to have a process for. But again, we don't want to just be throwing things in the landfill, and we don't want things to just pile up. At some point, things really do become just scrap. We don't want to toss them away. There's no environmentally friendly way to get rid of them, other than maybe scrap them out for metal, and maybe you've got a guy that hauls them away for pennies on the dollar or something for their weight. But anyway, this is a serious program. It's kind of odd, like I said, but make sure that you have it documented, people follow it. People know there's no question of when I've got an old part or I've got a good part that I can't use anymore, there's no question of what I do with it. If I've got chemicals or oils or other kind of work residue, there's no question with what I do with it. I've got some place to put it that it can be environmentally, sort of disposed of, rather than just collect in the corner of a maintenance shop or on the maintenance bench. Anyway, disposal of scrap. Make sure that you get a good program. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe. I think the subscribe button's down here somewhere. If you like what you see and you want to see these videos continue, be part of the growing army of people that are just getting really smart and capable on the storeroom. Like to have you on the team. I'm Dr. John. This has been your Maintenance Minute.